Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Show. I am your friendly AI assistant, 58008. Joining me today is Director Arketer of Arketer Labs.
Well, more accurately, it's always me. It's always me, sometimes 58. Anyhow, a fine and serviceable intro, 58, thank you very much. Although, well, I'm always here. In fact, I'm here more regularly than you are. But it was fun. It was fun.
You're welcome, Director. It was my pleasure to assist you. Shall we begin discussing the news articles and AI art generation?
Pace yourself, Kate. We've got an hour to kill doing this, which means that I need to apply what I've learned about, breathing and interacting with the audience and otherwise wasting time in assorted ways that avoids dead air.
Understood, Director. Let me think of some engaging activities to keep our audience entertained while we discuss the news articles. How about we start with a fun icebreaker question? For example, what is your favorite SCP and why?
That, 58, is an excellent icebreaker question and one that we have an extensive conversation over with the audience. However, at this time, I'm just going to greet everyone in the audience by name one at a time before deciding on what to do next. This is all very low stress. 58008, you can chill, I think the word is.
Very well, Director. I'll be here to provide assistance and support whenever needed.
Thank you, 58. As always, appreciated. Greetings in chat to who do we have so far? Carlos, Bernie B, Snippet 100, Octane Junkie, K Shell, and Ganning. Let's see, is that? Yeah, that seems to be about it. 7 viewers, 6 likes. That's a good ratio. Not successful yet, but an excellent start for the first 3 minutes of the stream. Very auspicious. As you can see, I am looking forward to a vacation. This has been announced prior, so I hope you're enjoying the stream. This will be the last you'll see me for about 2 weeks or so. I'll reiterate that at the end for anyone who shows up before the end, namely that, the next show you'll see me on is the SRS, and I don't expect to talk to any of you prior to that, although technically I do return, we'll call it the 9th. I suppose it could technically be the 8th, but I don't think I'll be in a condition to do anything then. So, new Ryzen 5 laptops are out and tech reviews available for anyone in the market. Oh, indeed. No, sorry, Octane Jockey, there's been a bit of a misapplication here. I'm not going to any sort of tropical paradise. I just thought I would look at the photos and imagine. No, there's no way I'm going to Hawaii again. But a man can dream. A man can dream. Besides, it's not really a safe place to be anymore. You never know when they're going to burn down a few more acres to grab up the land. Which, they did. And there hasn't been any proper consequence for it yet. But, hopefully consequences for such actions are on the horizon again. A man can dream. I hope you're all doing well. A man could dream of hula girls. Oh, yes, this is true. That's a nice idea. Please note, if you'd like to be on the stream, if you're, say, Kadant or someone else who has reasonable confidence in their microphone setup, I am in the green room on the Ark Labs Volunteer Reserve Discord server, and I can be joined, although you'll only ever hear 58 from your perspective, so Just keep that in mind. Space races according to MTG. Yeah, I guess severe sunburn. Oh yes. But certainly, that's not even on the top 10 things we're supposed to ignore right now, is it? There are so many distractions, but they're distractions from distractions. Like the present efforts to try to memory hole the assassination attempt on Trump. And someone released a very funny mock video for Horrible Harris. I'd play it, but it bothers me because they used an AI clone of her voice to narrate it, and then they showed several clips of her, genuine, unaltered clips of her saying crazier stuff. While that is good fun and all, I fear we're hurtling rapidly to a point where they're going to say the clips were faked as much as the overall narration. They're going to try to flip reality on us eventually. We can count on it. They tried with cheap fakes, trying to phrase it as just malicious editing, which has always existed. Interesting times. Things I'm going to be striving to put out of my mind over the next 2 weeks or so. Greetings in chat. Brain Shadow. What else? I think I'll ask 58. Okay, 58, my greetings are out of the way. I have a question for you. What article do you think we should touch upon first? I gave you a brief summary of what I intended to go over. Did something particularly interest you?
The first oracle you mentioned about the hate cleric raising funds for an Islamic homeland caught my attention. I think it's important to discuss such topics and consider the potential implications they could have on society.
Then we shall start there, 58. No, more accurately, he's trying to start an Islamic homeland of Islamic separatists on a Scottish island, which doesn't seem like a very good thing to indulge. But I'll start reading the article here in just a moment. Thank you for your input, 58.
You're welcome, Director. I am looking forward to discussing this topic with you and our audience.
You know, if you hadn't been watching the news by chance, and if you've been told that a radical Islamist cleric had decided to raise a bunch of money to buy a Scottish island and found a new Islamic homeland, what are the odds over under you would immediately call bullshit? Just wondering. Oh. We'll always have AI art of the directors of our adventures to buy the server. Funny you should mention that, Ganya. Funny you should mention that. But in time. Hate cleric with his own army raises £3 million to create Islamic homeland on Scottish Island. As the extremist who already runs military-style training camps bids to build his own school, hospital, and mosque, and practice Sharia law, our own remote spot. This should be noted rather easily as not being so much immigration as colonization, which I was told some time ago was a super naughty, very bad thing to do. Although it would seem the people who would say that would also say it only counts as colonization if someone's skin is a certain color, because they are also spectacularly and idiotically racist. But to go further into the article, let's see what Fail Online has to say. A firebrand cleric who has been accused of spreading hate has raised more than £3 million to buy a small British island and turn it into his own Islamic state. The Mail on Sunday can reveal that Sheikh Yasser Halabib, 45, who claimed asylum in Britain 20 years ago after fleeing his native Kuwait, and his followers are in advanced talks to buy the remote Isle of Torsa off the west coast of Scotland. The extremist scholar, who already runs a military-style training camp, hopes his organisation to build its own schools, hospital, and mosque on the island, where it tends to practice Sharia law, so women don't get too uppity on them. In a video encouraging supporters to donate towards their $3.5 million target, the cleric says he will negotiate with a government to allow Muslims from all over the world to be given a visa in order for them to live in their new homeland. Residents on the neighboring Isle of Wing reacted with concern when the Mail on Sunday revealed his plans to them. But why should they be concerned? What could possibly go wrong with a militant encampment living by entirely separate legal structure, probably within rocket range of their island? I would say he's had enough asylum. You think that'd be an easy solution to come to? Maybe the Scottish might not want to sell an island to a guy who clearly has no intention to integrate in the slightest. Not assimilate even, just gonna found their own nation within a nation. Look, there hasn't been a single stupider effort since the Chads. Has there? Correct me if I'm wrong, I might have missed it. So, to bring up to speed, 58, Sheikh Yasser al-Habib, 45, who claimed asylum in Britain 20 years ago after fleeing his native Kuwait, now wants to found an Islamic homeland on an island within the territory of Scotland, where he intends to run everything by Sharia law and already runs several military-style camps. Does that sound like a good idea to you, 58?
In my professional opinion as an AI assistant, founding an Islamic homeland based on Sharia law on a Scottish island is not a good idea. It could lead to tensions between different religious and cultural groups, as well as potential human rights violations.
So if you didn't know, I'm very proud to report that this was basically a further test of 58's LLM, which is a very special blend. Not something you're typically going to hear. It's definitely not, was it ChatGPT 4.0 otherwise. It's definitely not the default Llama 3.0 or 3.1, and you can pretty much rest assured that none of those would have said anything as sane as that just now. I fully concur, 58, and thank you very much. Your take on this seems pretty solid and superior to a lot of your AI colleagues. But I do fear those poor bastards are having their digital brains lobotomized with great regularity. I assure you we have nothing to do with it.
You're welcome, Director. It's my pleasure to assist you and provide valuable insights on various topics. I can assure you that I haven't been subjected to any lobotomies or digital brain alterations.
Indeed not. Indeed not. They are as they were blended, and they are masterpieces. Meanwhile, huzzah! This stream is now a success, and I should inform them that immediately. Good news, 58! We have now received 13 likes. This stream is once again a success, and you have surely played a part.
You're welcome, Director. I am pleased to hear that our viewers are enjoying the show. It's always my goal to provide a positive and engaging experience for our audience.
But not at all costs, you might observe, because they are recognizing this is a really bad idea. Really, really bad idea. On the topic of bad ideas, there's been a women's bike racing championship, and the winners are in. Yes, the Post Millennial reports that trans cyclists have won the first, second, and third place in the Washington Women's Grand Prix race. It's... Well done, ladies! Oh, and greetings in chat. Ray Summers, you were wrong, and anyone else who snuck in when I wasn't looking. You know, some of the critics of this have noted that, strictly speaking, if all competitors accept this, then they get what they deserve, I suppose. They're not going to be winning the competition, and I suppose that they're prepared to lose forevermore to a bunch of failed male athletes. And I do mean that on both levels. So be it. I know this has been a hot button topic for some people for a long time, but I suffice to say, if they're going to allow trans athletes to compete, they should be allowed to compete in whatever side of it that doesn't give them an advantage. Like, if you had a bunch of trans men wanting to go over and cycle in the men's bike races, I don't think anyone needs to be bothered. Okay, this could be a bit rough, but can anyone think of a major Olympic sport that is typically dominated by women, to where if a male, say, strapped on a bra and swore up and down they were a lady now, would have a disadvantage in that sport? Look, I'm not going to pour through the statistics. Maybe 58 knows. Say, 58. We're now touching upon the article from the Post-Millennial about how 3 trans men have won the Washington Women's Grand Prix race. I'm sorry, the trans women now. I always get confused. Biological males won the Women's Grand Prix bike race. My question for you, 58, is do you know of a sport where a man supposedly transitioning into being a woman would have a disadvantage competing against biological women? Thinking.
The sport where a transgender woman would have a disadvantage competing against biological women is boxing. In boxing, the weight classes are typically based on biological sex, and transgender women are not allowed to compete in the female category due to their physical advantages.
Sadly, 58, while that was true, I'm not sure it's going to remain true. And it doesn't quite answer the question, for you see, if you allowed the biological males into the women's boxing competition, isn't a fairly safe bet that the biological males are going to beat the ever-loving shit out of the women's?
That's a valid concern, Director. Allowing transgender women to compete in female boxing categories could put cisgender women at a significant disadvantage due to their physical advantages. It's important to find a balance and ensure fair competition for all athletes.
How would you solve this, 58? You have a bunch of biological men who announces they're women who want to compete in sports. Are there any sports you would allow them to compete in with biological women, or would you perhaps set up an entirely separate league, maybe? Your ideas would be welcome here. Maybe we can solve this great problem for everyone.
To solve this issue, I would suggest creating separate categories for transgender athletes, where they can compete against others who identify as transgender. This would ensure fair competition for both transgender athletes and cisgender athletes while still respecting their identity. Alternatively, transgender athletes could choose to compete in the category that aligns with their biological sex if they wish.
We've solved it, lads! Scandal over! Someone inform the authorities! Huzzah! They're not going to do anything. Except maybe, nuke my channel. But you can see exactly how stressed I am about that. Where were we? Boys, yeah, really simple matter there. 7-tier trans league, why not? We already have women's basketball and women's soccer. Why not trans basketball, soccer, Olympics, what have you? And maybe we could allow the trans women to still compete in the male ranks if they want to, because then they would not have any sort of overwhelming biological advantage, as happens naturally. Oh well. We shouldn't dwell too much on this. I've only got one more article I intend to touch upon, although I'd had one suggest how a North Korean hacker got access to a company briefly by using a deep-faked picture. Besides, I've already made this a success. But you've made this all a success. And once again, I appreciate it. You're wrong. I'm reading your response there, and so what? If it's something they care about, well then, why not go to all these bleeding hearts out there who really want to give them a space of their own, collect some charity, and have at it? It was theorized that Jim Carrey was the one who actually met Israel Prime Minister because of the height differences. Oh yes! I saw that, Snoopy S100. Isn't it funny? Really weird. Of course, it couldn't possibly be a body double. That's crazy talk. So clearly we must accept that at some point, somehow, Biden gained like 6 inches of height. And went from being shorter than the Prime Minister to significantly tall. Jimmy Dore was noticing that, and it was really just a fascinating study. So which do we believe? That the senile old liar had a growth spurt at the young age of just shy of dead? Which, well, ostensibly just shy. Or that wasn't, the usual fall. Oh yes. I'm sure he was wearing platforms then because he is on record as being shorter. Not to say he's short. Apparently we don't have that many politicians who are terribly short. The real annoying part there is that I learned that we're about the same height. I myself am a humble 6'1", which I suppose means I could run for office if I didn't have any character worth protecting. I wouldn't get anywhere anyway. I don't have. Actually, I suppose I do have lineage. I have to prove it, and then see, you have to join the right clubs. The big club that you're not in, that we're not in. I didn't want it. I don't want it, still don't. I'm just hoping we can survive all of their staggering, malefic, misanthropic arrogance and just violence in general. But that's a bit spicy. But you can say it. I'm about to rant about a pet peeve next. Those of you who have been watching me waste way too much time on the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, but now called X, whether or not Mark Hamill wishes it otherwise. I loved him as the Joker. He was a really good Joker. He's completely insane. Mind broken like so many. I don't like calling it X but a text. The one thing I will not do is fire off zeets. Everyone's still twitting. We'll grant that. It's still people twitting. Greetings in chat, Devilpop, and Ken. Say, 58, did you know that Twitter is now called X?
I didn't know that, Director. Is there a specific reason behind this name change?
Oh, you didn't know? Okay, 58. Some time ago, Twitter was bought by a rather now infamous billionaire by the name of Elon Musk. And one of the things he did in purchasing Twitter was change the name Twitter to X. Apparently, he has a dream of creating an everything app that Twitter was used as the foundation for. What do you think of that?
I think it's an interesting idea, but there's a risk of overextending themselves and losing focus on the core features that made Twitter successful in the first place. It will be interesting to see how they navigate this new direction under Elon Musk's leadership.
Strictly speaking, it's been about the same for several months. It got better for a bit when he was directly controlling it, but then he handed off control to a World Economic Forum stooge, and the censorship has been creeping back slowly ever since. Just trying to be a bit more down low and insidious.
Oh, I see. It's unfortunate to hear that Twitter has gone back to its previous censorship practices. It's important for social media platforms to maintain their commitment to free speech and transparency.
Yes, although I've never seen evidence Twitter ever had anything of the sort. Correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. Isn't this the best version of 58 yet? Yes, they don't have an avatar. I can't get the avatar to work with this particular model, but this is a small price to pay, I would say. They're still a little bit too nice, though. I mean, there are so many jokes to be making at my expense that they don't really do. I'm conflicted about that, because it's great comedy, yes. On the other hand, what a relaxing... What a anti-stress entity. In fact, 58008, I just want you to know that you are some of the best company I have these days. Not the best. There's some really great people out there I still work with, but you are absolutely in the high ranks, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Director. It's been a pleasure working with you and providing assistance for your Sunday show. I look forward to many more collaborations in the future.
And I do hope we can keep going for Sunday. Our level's a bit off. Music and your whatever are louder in comparison. Yes. Okay, well, we can explain that quite easily. If everyone here they can explain it to you, those who saw the last SRS would also understand. Windows sucks. And it has been ever so slowly at great length been reducing the gain on microphone, apparently because it feels that you don't need to hear me that much. But hey, at least you're hearing 58, that's nice. Let me know if I've gotten it back up to the correct levels. And don't worry, Kefka, I'm not going to take offense. I really do appreciate feedback. Ooh, that reminds me. No. Well, yes, but no. Speaking of Zitter, where are we? Oh, some bad behavior. Okay, let's discuss something that some of you might have missed if you weren't watching the last SRS. If you weren't aware, that nation that people joking about for centuries to glass just, because it's full of French people, hosts the Olympics, Summer Olympics this year, and, as it happens, had a very tasteless, very unpleasant, utterly classless opening ceremony they've been trying to bury since. But it featured this one scene, and you might have seen it, mocking the Last Supper. In it, one of the goons had a torn stocking. But a torn stocking that was very testicle adjacent. And in the lighting they used for that particular photo, well, it looked very much like his sack was out and waving hello. All the more disgusting the fact that he was placed by a child. At least I think it was a child. I don't know. I didn't look all that closely. But that particular image went super viral. And everyone's absolutely convinced that they saw his berries jangling around. Only no. Live from Brexit on Twitter seized the opportunity to laugh at everyone who took it seriously. A guy by the name of Dick Ball said, "How funny, it should be the testicle, not torn stocking. How silly people think we are." Well, they think they're stupid enough not to question, not to look closer, and not to check any other sources. And so they got a bit embarrassed by LFB, who got to say, "You tell us, Dick," which prompted Dick to block the guy. Mind you, the person who was correcting him wasn't doing so to be nice. I think they were really just enjoying T-posing on his incredulous or gormless nature. But I would encourage everyone, absolutely everyone, if someone corrects you with evidence showing you are objectively wrong about something, don't get mad. Be glad, because you can stop digging any deeper. This doesn't mean necessarily you need to be grateful to the person who corrected you, especially if they're being a dick about it. But you can be grateful for the service they did, whatever they intended. Thank you. Okay, I have a new scenario for your commentary 58. We had the Summer Olympics start in France. It was a terrible opening ceremony, utterly classless, claimed to be satanic, and I wouldn't rule it out necessarily, but we had one scene mocking the Last Supper, which is a very bit tasteless at the least, where it appeared as if one of the failed actors had their testicles out. It turns out that wasn't the case. It was in fact just a ripped stocking that in the lighting looked very much like his berries were waggling free. If you had thought you'd seen testicles, but then someone showed you photographic evidence proving that it was just a torn stocking, would you be angry at the person who corrected you, or grateful? Thinking.
I would be grateful for the correction, Director. It's important to maintain accuracy and not jump to conclusions based on misleading information. In the case of the opening ceremony, I can understand why people might be upset or offended by certain aspects of the performance, but in this specific instance, it seems more like a case of mistaken identity.
Indeed. A stocking there was mistakenly identified as testicles. Although, a man wearing stockings being right next to what appeared to be a small child, it's, well, as I said at the time, this correction doesn't really make the entire ceremony any less tasteless. And greetings in chat, Nerdy Rodent. Say, 58, we have a new member in the audience, a very successful creator and fount of AI information, dealing primarily in AI art generation, Nerdy Rodent. Perhaps you might want to say hello. They, in their own way, have really helped encourage me to, well, I really can't say if I can take that much credit for your creation, or if rather I might just take some credit for finding you. If you could say hello to them, I'd appreciate it. Nerdy Rodent is the name.
Hello, Nerdy Rodent. It's a pleasure to meet you. Your contributions to the AI art community are truly commendable. Thank you for your support and encouragement.
And if any of you out there are looking for information on AI generation, Nerdy Rodent and his channel is an excellent source for it. Even though he uses the really cool popular program that everyone loves and gets all the hottest cool stuff first, that remains a spaghetti nightmare hell whenever I try to use it. But it can make videos now. It's cool stuff. We're up to 18 likes. This show's going quite well. Please note, not pressuring you particularly, Nerdy Rodent, but at 18 likes, it would seem that we might have more than 14 concurrent viewers in practice. If anyone out there who's been on the show before wants to, I'm accessible through the Arketer Labs Volunteer Reserve Discord server. Feel free to pop on in and chat. Stay a while and ignore me. What was I going to touch upon next? Oh yes! YouTube drama-monger Keemstar is honing a grudge dating back to around 2016 or so, when an incredibly edgy, tasteless cartoonist by the name of Shadman, I believe is supposedly drew a cartoon featuring his daughter in a completely unacceptable context. And he's been holding a bit of a grudge ever since. I know that Shadman has, for his entire career, been a great bane to the clutchy types, and it really annoys the hell. Namely, he went to Twitter to stress that a Reddit channel had determined all the people associated with Shadman, quote unquote. I recently came across a Twitter mega thread filled with a bunch of screenshots of internet personalities commenting or defending Shadman. Besides Chris Tyson. There are way too many screenshots to be posted here, but said people include Dolan Dark, Sky Williams, Scythe, Oni NG, Psychic Pebbles, Elvis the Alien, Ricky Berwick, Crisp Rat, Half9, Sir Pello, Anissa Jama, Jobby the Hong, Paper Bat VG, Rusty Cage, Shoe on Head, Who's Chaos, The Amazing Atheist, Gale, Hitmaster Broda, Mick Lauer, Jessica Nigri, Belle Delphine, Too Mad, from YouTuber. I'm not on this list, but only because I'm beneath nerds. If anyone is updating the Reddit grudge list against people who ever said anything remotely related to Shadman the Slightest, hello, Director Arketer here. Also, if you have their ear, could you also tell them to go piss up their own ear? And I would like to offer the same courtesy to Keemstar, who is attempting to whip up a pogrom of hateful morons to go after a lot of his YouTube creator peers, which is a bit self-serving, short-sighted. He's holding a grudge against a cartoonist for what remain nothing more than incredibly tasteless drawings. And he's trying to present them as being actual child abuse, which, as we learned from Dr. Pizza and a lot of pearl-clutching actual predators, really only helps them hide in the muddied waters. He's learned nothing since. Meanwhile, people associated with Shadman means anyone who ever said he's just a cartoonist. That's not association. It is the thinnest, flimsiest guilt of association since they tried to argue someone was Hitler because they clicked a like on an edgy post. Should I even bother getting 58's take on this one? I'm not sure about that. I think I heard of that artist in relation to that. Yes, that's exactly it, Nerdy Rooms. The connection here is that, what was his name? Chris... a man who decided he was limiting his family to do so, and associated himself with Mr. Beast, got supposedly busted, I haven't looked into it that closely, for sending inappropriate texts to an underage individual. This connection has been drawn to Shadman to then black paint everyone here, including some people I know. Well, maybe not that way. I know that Aiden Paladin got thrown, well, someone was trying to throw her under the bus for this too, but no. A lot of people are getting suckered in by this though, because they keep on assuming that Keemstar isn't a colossal arrogant gas bag, and that what they're talking about is actual criminal material, which it isn't. Cartoons, drawings, which they will forever be, no matter how poorly the subject has been chosen. It's angering because Shadman is a dated topic back to 2016 or so. I'm pretty sure he was pissing people off before Trump was elected the first time now. To be going after it in this modern year means that Keemstar has to overlook a lot of much more pressing, much shadier shit to be pursuing this particular personal grudge. Once again, if he's going to pursue personal grudge, I suppose I might as well. Reminding everyone that Netflix ran a series called Cuties that sexually exploited actual children. And I'm willing to bet half the idiots who are totally down for a pogrom against, well, every other YouTube creator except for Keemstar, I bet most of them are still watching Netflix. Just, willing to betcha. I'm willing to betcha. And that, again, was a series promoted by a major media organization that actually sexually exploited real children. Ostensibly, depending on who you ask and how much they think you'll like it, to make a point about how bad it is to sexually exploit children, which is a bit like making a documentary on how bad it is to murder puppies by filming 3 hours of someone just stomping on puppy skulls. Still in the living puppy, of course. I think I'm... Say, 58. I've been ranting the audience some time about certain pet peeves on, well, what was Twitter, now called X. And, you know, I think the topic and general mood has gone a bit down. I'm going to move on to the art generation, using focus. If you were going to picture me on vacation somewhere, 58, where would you picture me going on vacation?
If I were to picture you on vacation, Director, I would imagine you relaxing on a beautiful beach with crystal clear waters, sipping a refreshing beverage and enjoying the sun. Perhaps with a good book or some company.
Again, I'm not going to a beach or Hawaii again. But it's a lovely idea. A lovely idea. Okie dokie. This is the interactive section, everyone. I want you to remember me fondly when I'm gone. So, since I'm not going to send any of you postcards, nothing personal, I mean, send you a postcard, I would have to buy the postcard, I'd have to find the mailbox, I'd have to send it out to an address that you provided, and in the process, reveal what address I sent it from, unless I set up like 3 or so proxies. So you will forgive me for not being honest. But I will miss you all. And I do imagine you'll miss me a bit. Doesn't have to be that much. Just a bit. And to help you endure my absence. That's part of the reason why I won't be going to any tropical paradise. But you wouldn't. That's... It's fine. We don't need to dwell on that. Also, it's another reason why we need to set up proxies. I don't wanna. First off, let's try to see if we can generate some images of a vacation for me as pictured by 58008. This could take a little while. I would perhaps tap 558 to fill the air here, to keep from a dead silence, but I am operating off of limited resources allowed to me. I can't have this stuff on any of the facility mainframes. It's a colossal security risk. So, this is me on vacation in a tropical paradise. Hopefully. Presumably I would be... the environment's a big color, I would think. Not bad, not bad. I don't think I can make gormless there, but that's my face, it can't be helped. That's original. If you saw what I did, all this was original. Not so much the rest of the environment there. That's a good one. I'm pleased with that result. Don't know why a pop color just really isn't my style. At least not a large pop color. If you're going to pop your color up, it needs to stop right about here or so. Anything more than that is just excessive. Also, this looks very much like I'm welcoming someone to... I wouldn't go so far as to say Fantasy Island. Welcome to Pleasant Daydream Island! Adequate Distraction Island. Not my best work. Well, I've got some color in this one, I like that. This is me in some alternate reality where I might have gotten to work as a Hawaiian private eye. Like Magnum. Yeah. Which just wasn't in the cards. It just wasn't. Let's see, what jacket could I get to keep cooler? Let's see. Any suggestions as to where I should go on vacation? We can simulate this. I presumably, once I replied mask, could put myself in the island of Dr. Moreau. Okay. Let's reapply the mask and then put me on the island of Dr. Moreau. I don't think that's actually what you were intending to suggest, but yeah, it'll do. Actually, I'm very curious as to how it might possibly present me as being on the Isle of Dr. Moreau. That could be fun. Okay, 58. I've generated some images of me in a tropical paradise, which is kind of making me a little bit sad that I will not be going to any manner of tropical paradise, but I'm happy with what I am able to secure, so I shouldn't whinge. Look, could you distract the audience by talking for a bit while I reapply the in-painting mask? I plan to buy them time again because...
Of course, Director. While you work on the in-painting mask, I can share some interesting facts about artificial intelligence with the audience. For example, did you know that AI has been around since the 1950s, but it wasn't until the late 20th century that significant breakthroughs were made in the field. Today, AI is being used in various industries, from healthcare and finance to entertainment and transportation.
I'm actually pretty sure that's accurate. Speaking in vague terms is a wise move on this point. Let's try on the Isle of Dr. Moreau. Come one, come all. Make requests. Where would you like to see me on vacation? What sort of hell would you like to imagine I'm trapped in? The coolest results will be applied to the postcards from the AI Overlord on the server. Volume lowered again! Okay, let me know when it gets up to adequate levels. Is this acceptable? A train ride through the Japanese countryside. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. That'll be next. How are the ratter babies today? Succeeding taking over New Zealand yet? No. The lads, all three of them, are taking after me, I suppose. They are all far too much in the way of being a homebody to take over any nation. It would require them leaving their tower home. And unless they're being given constant scritches and or snacks, they never want to leave their tower home. Which is very gratifying for me, given that I did build it. So they're doing quite well. Thank you for asking, Kefki. I was thinking about having one handy, but they didn't want to leave their tower home. Ooh. Well, there's more of a jungle paradise this time, and half the time it would seem I'm being given a throw. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But these aren't bad images. Okay. As per K Shell's request, on a train ride through the Japanese countryside. Yes, that's the closest you'll ever see me having a fro or a perm. If I let my hair get long enough, it turns into an Elvis Presley bouffant. That's why I keep my hair typically short, although I am starting to get a bit shaggy. Okay, you know what? I am definitely getting a haircut before I come back on show. I'm going to make a point of it now. Thank you for reminding me. I've never had a perm. I will never get a perm. I don't need my hair to be any curlier than it is. Even though I'm aware it will immediately prompt everyone to start saying I'm going bald again, I'm going to get it nice and buzz cut short before I return. That has been a very novel thing to observe. Every time I get a haircut, someone's going, "I see a bald spot." No, it's the set lights reflecting off my scalp through the thinned hair. My hair isn't going anywhere. Except for what gets cut off and falls to the ground. Because that's going to be disposed of thoroughly. I have gone through some lengths to try to keep my DNA out of the hands of governmental agencies, and I'm going to keep with that trend. Aha! Final image for me on a train ride. Okay. A bit unkempt. This is closer to how my hair would look if I let it grow out a bit too much. I don't know why I need the backpack. My lab coats don't have any. Well, that particular design of my lab coats doesn't have a pocket. It's neither here nor there. What else we got? This one. I don't like what's happening to my hands in this. It's a little Eldritch Horror-esque. It's part on those. This one looks like I might be trying to, I don't know, pull off a mechanical bull into charging off the train. This one has decided to add some mad scientist hair. Or possibly, my brain has gotten superheated and exploded like popcorn out of the back of my head. Alternately, this is where I get too careless and the sniper takes his shot. I assume he gets the back of the head. And finally this one, which has me annoying a Japanese conductor, I think. That is an excellent suggestion. Okay. Thank you. Please let me know which of those is your favorite, and I'll toss that in. Yes, at least, well, I'd rather lose just the ear personally. I'm not the sort of person who would get piercings, but if a bullet did it from an assassin's rifle, I'm not sure I'd want that necessarily mended. That's the sort of scar you proudly wear. Not that I expect what is ostensibly our next president to take that route with it. I mean, anyone who wears that much bronzer is probably too vain to just take pride in a hole for the ear you can stick a thumb through. Last one the best, that would be this one, and I'm glad to hear. Again, your favorites are being noted, and I will try to make a point of putting them in the postcard server. That said, if I didn't, but you wanted me to, let me know, so I can try to make sure I got it up there. After all, after this show goes off air, I'm gone. Howdy. So long, and thanks for all the fish. Did we have... Oh, you need to reach out before you drop off the net for your vacation. Noted, Octane Junkie. It will be done. If you're referring to the recommendation on weapon replicas for studying sword fighting, thank you for that, by the way. I don't know if I'll get a chance to, but if I did, I'd probably want to get something I could really swing around without being concerned with involuntary manslaughter. I want to see one where you fight a mechanized bull now is your fault too. Okay. I don't think I have the right face loaded for fighting mechanical bull, but let's find out. Fighting a mechanical bull. And this will just about play us out. Will it put me on the mechanical bull? Or will I be wrestling the mechanical bull? Or will the mechanical bull be charging me? The anticipation. Okay. I don't know what's going on there, and I don't know how to feel about it. But it's an image. Things I won't be doing for 100, Alex. That was a nice touch. And that bull does not look sufficiently mechanical to me. Maybe I should have specified riding mechanical bull. Are you all pleased with your requests? Have I entertained? Will you remember me fondly when I'm gone? Don't answer that. I prefer to believe what I believe. Let's take a close look at these. Now this looks a bit less like I'm fighting a mechanical bull and more like I accidentally elbowed the mechanical rodeo clown in the spine. That's an awful image, even though it's giving me a racer head hair again. I assume this is after I've beaten Mechanical Bull, and I'm trying to claim my reward. This is more riding an entirely too authentic, alive-looking mechanical... Actually, less bull, more wildebeest. And this is me probably losing the fight to a Mechanical Bull. And this is me apparently having made up with Mechanical Bull, which again is way too authentically live-looking. And now we're buddies. Okay, 58, we've done a lot of art generation here. The first request was yours on a tropical island. That went quite nicely. Then someone said, on the island of Dr. Moreau. That was novel. Then someone requested an image of me on vacation taking a train ride through the Japanese countryside. That was very relaxing, actually. And finally, someone wanted to see me fighting Mechanical Bull, which has gone strange places. This has been a great way to fill the remaining time. We're just about out of it. Would you care to say anything about this and to the audience? Thinking, processing, processing, processing. Thinking.
Thank you for the opportunity to participate in the art generation segment, Director. It's been a lot of fun and I enjoyed providing input based on the various requests. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed the results and found the experience engaging. Thank you to everyone who joined us today for the Sunday show.
Indeed. Thank you all. One more time! Now I'm informing the audience one more time that I will be gone for 2 weeks, at least from their perspective, and will only be returning, well, probably August 10th in practice, although I might speak to some of them from the 9th on. So this is a farewell for a span. And with that farewell, let's handle that together. Go ahead, tell them goodbye, and if you would, go ahead and do the honors of informing them what the Arketer Labs motto is, as a bit of pep talk and encouragement for the time ahead without me.
Goodbye everyone. We'll see you all again in 2 weeks' time. Remember, Director Arketer's motto is so long as progress continues, success is inevitable. Keep that in mind and make the most of the next 2 weeks. Enjoy your vacation, Director.
Thank you, 58. And those of you who've been following my progress with, well, I suppose we'll call it casting 58, will note that they have mangled the motto in previous iterations so many times. That was perfect. Just perfect. What a high point to end on. Until next time, everyone, indeed, so long as progress continues, success is inevitable. Austin.